round of rain moving in, and it is a cold rain across the area. Any concerns about any icy weather across the state? We'll talk about it on Weather Extra.
And you've probably seen them for a long time, but are they still necessary? Water towers will show you why cities still use them. And it may have caused travel headaches for parts of the Midwest this weekend. But that wasn't a concern for everyone. We'll show you how animals at the zoo enjoyed the snowy weather.
Live on your side. First Alert Weather Extra starts right now.
All right, Tania, I just couldn't help that video we showed of that buffalo just sitting there like, come on, this is nothing, right?
Listen, they said the summer was too hot. Thank you for this cold weather.
I know. Listen, it's cold right now. It's December 1st, start of meteorological winter time, as we call it. And I'll often say when we get to December 1st, it's time to buckle up.
Oh yeah, listen, we're feeling cold already, so bring out the heavy coats, those layers. I've got my fuzzy socks on right now, and I'm not mad at it.
Yeah, and add the umbrella. You'll need that, right? And the rain jacket, too, as well for this evening. It's 42 right now with rain falling in Vernon. It's not a heavy rain. It's light rain, but it's just enough to keep those roads slippery and wet out there tonight, so just give yourself some extra drive time and bundle up. But we just have a lot of moisture. It's going to keep on rolling in and just making for a rainy, overcast tonight, just cold soaking across the area. Not too heavy. As you can see, it's mostly light rain that we're seeing and starting to get some pockets of wet weather developing further south, but most of what we've seen so far this evening has been concentrated north and northwest, but this will fill in as the night goes on. And the temperatures change very little. It will start to drop once we've got a low that's tracking near the Gulf Coast, a surface low, and once that passes by and the north wind takes over by tomorrow morning, you'll notice that chill coming back. But at the moment, most of the precipitation to the north, there's some rain along and south of Montgomery, but we do expect this to fill in. There's some icy weather happening north of Memphis, up in the parts of northern Tennessee and Arkansas. That's pretty much going to be the southern limit of all the icy weather. There's winter weather advisories back across Arkansas in case you are traveling in that direction for tomorrow morning. As for us, the temperatures stay well above freezing, so no icy weather concerns for us. But you can see how the model by 10, 11 o'clock tonight shows that coverage of rain starting to fill in. And this sticks around. There's 1 in the morning. This is brand new data, by the way. 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. There's 4 a.m. And that shows the back edge by 4 o'clock in the morning starting to move into Hamilton at 38 degrees. So it is going to be warm enough to where we don't see this change over to snow. It looks like it stays all liquid this go around, and then it's going to be tracking on towards the east. There's 6 o'clock in the morning, still some rain around Tuscaloosa, around Birmingham, so factor in some extra drive time early in the morning for that morning drive. Anniston, Oxford, back to Gadsden, still looks like some rain. It's probably going to be about 9, 10 o'clock before places like Gadsden and Anniston we really start to see this move out. But a cold rain at that, and tomorrow night, by tomorrow evening, we'll start to have breaks in the clouds, and that wind's going to be around. There's going to be a wind chill. It's going to feel cold tomorrow night, and freezing temperatures Wednesday morning down into the 20s. The good news is Wednesday we'll have sunshine coming back. Still chilly with highs around 50, but that's going to be one of the nicer days if you need to tackle some outdoor projects, because Thursday, as soon as we wake up Thursday morning, some more wet weather's back. It's going to move back in here late Wednesday night and into Thursday morning. In fact, need to watch that closely. Maybe a little sleet may try to mix in across North Alabama coming off some of these cold morning temperatures, but certainly a very interesting pattern here as we move ahead. And we're going to be talking more about that rain coming up for Thursday, Friday, and also we'll check in on those championship forecasts for the weekend. But we'll be right back. I'll have that for you in just 30 seconds. Well, after tonight, early tomorrow, there's another system I was telling you about comes back Thursday. There's some morning showers Thursday. We catch a little bit of a break, and then it picks up again Thursday night and into the day on Friday. So I think some of that rain is going to be around for folks here around Jacksonville at the Jacksonville State, the Conference USA Championship. We're expecting 40s with a 50% chance for showers around kickoff time. So there will be a chance for some rain in there during the evening hours. Now, for Alabama fans traveling over to Atlanta, of course, no issues inside the stadium, but for traveling and around the city of Atlanta, that system moving in Friday, it's still going to be bringing some clouds and maybe a few leftover showers in the Atlanta area. But all across the region, still chilly out there. I mean, even to the east, you can see those temperatures around 50 degrees. As for us, rain chances will drop off for the weekend. You can see by Friday, we have that higher rain chance, and Saturday morning, that's moving out here locally, but some of that wet weather sticks around over to the east. And then Saturday and Sunday, highs in the 50s. If you have weekend plans here at home, Saturday and Sunday look mostly dry. So we are going to have a much nicer weekend coming up, but feeling like December. It is certainly going to feel chilly out there. But I want to go to Matt now, who has a wrap up on hurricane season, which officially ended yesterday.
We made it to December, which means hurricane season is officially over. So let's recap and let you know what happened. Well, we ended up with 13 named storms. 5 of those become hurricanes, and out of those 5 hurricanes, 4 were major hurricanes, either a category 3 or 4 or 5 storm. Here's a look at that forecast from NOAA, and as you can see, they were a little more on the aggressive side. So it wasn't as much when it comes to quantity, but definitely when we saw those storms form, especially when they became hurricanes, they were quite intense. Here's some other notable facts when it comes to this previous season. First time in 10 years without a U.S. hurricane landfall. We're very thankful for that. It was also weird because we had 0 activity form in the Atlantic during the peak of the hurricane season. We're talking late August through mid-September. Nothing happened. Very unusual, but hey, we were thankful for that. 2005 and 2025. Well, if you remember 2005, that was a horrible season for hurricanes. Katrina, of course, Rita, Wilma. Well, those were the only seasons with 3 or more Category 5 hurricanes. So it's interesting that even though the season seems kind of quiet, it actually matches 2005 when it comes to intensity of those Cat 5 hurricanes. Remnants of Barry that formed earlier this season actually resulted in lots of flooding in Texas. So what wasn't really a landfall storm for the United States still resulted in some devastating flooding in Texas. And Chantal was the only named storm to impact the United States in July in the Carolinas. It was a tropical storm. So let's show you the entire view of all the storms that formed this season. You can see a lot of them formed in the Atlantic and curved away. Once again, the 3 storms we're going to know about is Barry, which fizzled out in Mexico, but once again the moisture spread northwards and created devastating flooding in central Texas. Then we had Chantal that impacted the Carolinas in July 6. And of course, the storm of the entire season that everyone's going to remember, Hurricane Melissa. That was a Category 5 that impacted Jamaica and, of course, Cuba. And one reason why the storms did not impact the United States is we usually watch out for the Bermuda High. Normally, this high might end up farther to the west, which allows these storms to stay more of a westerly track than a northerly track, and it allows them to impact the East Coast and move into the Gulf. But with this year, we had this high farther east, which allowed these storms to sort of just recurve out into the open waters of the Atlantic. So based off that setup, that's what helped us out when it comes to the lack of tropical systems impacting the United States. Of course, Melissa was the storm of the season. It made landfall on October 28th as a Category 5 hurricane, 185 mile-per-hour winds with a pressure of 892. So that makes Melissa one of the most powerful hurricanes to ever strike land in the Atlantic. It's tied for 3rd with the Labor Day storm back in 1935.
Well, towering over the town, do you ever see a water tower and wonder if it's still needed today or how it actually works? Dan Smith answers all of your questions about water towers coming up in your Moment of Science. Jeremy? what's going on? Hey, we'll fill that time. All right. All right. Cool. I wish I could get my source to turn into. Yes. Your 0% still pop up, but other than that, it's good. Yeah, I did. Chilly and breezy. Northwest wind. Only thing, there's not anything on 7, by the way, Sunday. I didn't get a chance to do Sunday. Make sure those numbers didn't change, yeah, because they'd be fluctuating.
Explore the wonders
Well,
of
it's that
weather
magical
with weather in
time
the
here
classroom.
of
Scan
weather.
the QR code now to help your kids soar to new heights with Soar with 6.
Well, it's that magical time here of Weather Extra where we get to show some of your pictures, and you send them in through our First Alert weather app. It basically gives us permission to use these pictures. So yeah, just scan the QR code or just do an app search for WBRC First Alert. Let's get into it here. This was Tina Anderson. She took a picture there of Brookwood, Alabama, and looks like a great looking sunrise or sunset. Something about the woods and getting to see all that. Man, that is a great looking shot there. Chris Haynes, he sent in a couple of pictures to us. This is Maxwell's Crossing in Tuscaloosa County, and a great looking sunset it looks like there into Maxwell's Crossing. And then in another morning he shot some fog that was coming on through. Not far from that last location, but that's kind of a spooky view. You think, I think a Sleepy Hollow, and the Headless Horseman's going to be riding through there. Yeah, kind of crazy. All right, and one more. Kaylee Doucette sent in a sunset over Centerville, and that almost looks like a cartoon. It's so beautiful. Man, lovely shot sent in. We've got some great photographers out there, and if you want to share your picture of the weather related to you and your location, just wherever you're going, again, through our First Alert weather app. Once you download it, it's free download. Scroll down to the bottom and you can see where you could submit pictures and be a part of Weather Extra.
Well, thanks, Mickey. Well, now it is time to go with the flow. Dan Smith shows how water towers are a brilliant example of simple engineering and physics in your moment of science.
From small towns to movie studios, water towers are a towering staple in many communities. This week, we're exploring how and why we store all those gallons galore. We won't get into the weeds on finding a water source or sanitizing it, but rather the process after it leaves the treatment plant. Electric pumps along the way are used to keep the clean, treated water flowing from high to low pressure. But the key question is, why not just pump directly forward to people's homes instead of upward? Well, supply and demand is a big reason. Your greatest demand on the system is usually mornings and evenings, like everyone showering before work or flushing the toilet during the commercial break of a big game. It'd get pretty expensive even if you did have enough pumps to transport all that water where it needs to go, and that's where water towers come in. During times of low water and electrical demand, usually overnight, Hundreds of thousands of excess gallons fill the tower. When demand kicks back up, your free source of power in the form of gravity gradually drains the tank, and the cycle continues the following night. That gets rid of the guesswork of when the system will be under the most and least strain, and has the added benefit of keeping water pressure in the event of a power outage, not to mention during critical firefighting moments. In fact, you gain an extra 43 hundredths of a pound per square inch for every foot of height. That translates to 43 extra PSI in a 100-foot tall tower. Constant pressure also helps keep contaminants out of the system, with inevitable leaks at some point down the line. Most municipalities have towers that hold about a day's worth of water. You'll often find them in flat areas, though higher elevations might just have a simpler, non-towering tank at the top of a hill to use that gravity assist. Multiple elevation changes may require multiple tanks to keep that flow nice and even. In the case of larger cities, you can't build a practical tower taller than most of the buildings, so each building has its own smaller version to flip that energy back from potential to kinetic when residents need it, with some skyscrapers also employing individual pumps closer to terra firma. Finally, it may be less scientific, but special shout out to those towns that take pride in turning their towers into terrific works of art, a double meaning to elevating your craft. For this week's Moment of Science, I'm Dan Smith.
Well, people aren't the only ones who like to play in the snow. Look at this brown bear who goes by the name of Tim. He had a great time rolling around in the flakes this weekend as a fresh snowfall blanketed Brookfield Zoo in Chicago. And a bison at the zoo didn't seem to mind the storm either. The Midwest and Great Lakes got a lot of snow over the weekend. The storm dumped more than 8 inches of snow on northern Iowa and at least that much in Chicago and other parts of Illinois, as well as Wisconsin, Indiana, and Michigan. How fun!
That looks like us around here when it snows, right? Just
Yes,
out there,
all the snow angels.
just going crazy, right? We just never get to see it. But as long as the roads stay okay, we're fine with it. And it's cold out there right now. We're not expecting any snowy weather for tonight. But if you're heading out to Northport, I know sometimes they're having Dickens downtown tomorrow night. Sometimes they have the snow machine out there, which is always fun. But 49 degrees right now in Northport. No rain falling at the moment. This is the view right there from Irvin's. This is at the corner of Highway 69 and Highway 82 right there in Northport. I'm watching this area because we're going to start to see some light rain developing here later on tonight. That's just one of the things we're tracking. A cold soaking rain that's going to build in here tonight and into tomorrow morning. We've got a freeze threat coming back tomorrow night. Lows back in the 20s, especially for Birmingham and points north. And then more rain later this week. I'd mentioned earlier we got that conference championship game happening at JSU Friday night, and a first alert for some showers that could certainly impact that game there Friday evening. But rain returns on Thursday, and then we'll have more rain coming back on Friday. But we got rain right now. Here it is. It's starting to really fill in across the state. There's an area here, a little void that's across a good part of the area. You know, you can always look at these radars and say, where's the drought? And you look at the radar and you can clearly tell it's right in this region where we're still seeing those drought conditions. But the wet weather is expected to fill in here later on tonight. It's not heavy rain, nothing severe, just enough to keep those roads damp. Like yesterday's just very dreary conditions overnight tonight. I certainly wouldn't leave the house without the umbrella. But in the immediate future here, if you're about to run out, maybe go ahead and do a little cyber shopping there. It's some Christmas shopping tonight. I know it's the cyber sale day going on right now, but maybe you're headed out and about. You can see that there are some breaks if you're about to go out in the short term, but this rain is going to fill back in here later on. A lot of rain, though, happening further north. You can see from Coleman back in the northwest areas. Forecast data, forecast radar for 11 o'clock shows showers, and most of this comes through between midnight and 6 a.m. Starts to taper off in the morning. I do think it may take this a little while to get out of here across East Alabama. Gadsden, Anniston, we still could see a few showers maybe as late as 9 or 10 o'clock. By tomorrow afternoon, though, may catch a little bit of sunshine, but look at these temperatures really sticking out here on the map. We're still showing 39 at Gadsden, 37 at Coleman. You can see by early on Wednesday morning, we got 20s on the board, so we'll have freezing conditions planned for a freeze tomorrow night. And that's really the only morning I'm really concerned about freezing conditions this week, because we start to see those temperatures improve slightly. It's not a lot. It stays cold, stays very chilly, but clouds move back in. By Thursday morning, we're in the 40s, and we got another wave of showers. We might see a little bit of sleet trying to mix in as this first starts, but this will change over to a cold rain, and it's just light rain there with temperatures in the 40s early on Thursday. This wave of rain looks to move on through, and then we're going to see some more wet weather coming back for Thursday night and into the day on Friday. So as we go to that first alert 10-day forecast, again tomorrow, even though we get the rain out of here early in the day, you can see we got temperatures in the 40s. It's going to be cold out there. Winds out of the northwest, 10 to 15 miles per hour by 4 o'clock, still showing 42 degrees. So keep that jacket nearby, bundle up tomorrow. It is going to be a chilly one. And then Wednesday morning for those forecast lows, again, a lot of blue here on the map and to the north. Coleman, as low as 25, Haleyville 24, Fayette 25, Tuscaloosa, even to the south, Rockford, Clanton, over towards Center and Anniston in these areas. A first alert for temperatures down into the 20s early on Wednesday. And then here comes that rain back. I mentioned Thursday morning and then into the day on Friday. Let's talk about Friday here. And you can see we're covered up. Looks like a good coverage in the morning. And the rain's going to be with us during the day. And then we'll see this start to taper off Friday night. Looks like we get most of this out of here, I think, by Saturday morning. Only a 20% chance for a shower Saturday. Most of the weekend looks fine there, 50 degrees for a high on Saturday. There it goes. So we'll dry out, but some of this wet weather will still be east of Alabama. If you are traveling over to Atlanta, you may run into some of that rain as we look ahead into the weekend there for the SEC Championship for Saturday. Next week looks to start out dry with temperatures topping out in the 50s. But to talk more about next week and going beyond the 10-day forecast, we head back over to Tania, and it looks like overall a little chilly for the weekend, Tania, but at least some dry weather.
Oh yeah, it looks dry this weekend. Let's go beyond that 10-day forecast. I'm looking closer to 8 to 14 days out from now. First, taking you across the southeast to look at temperatures. And the one thing I can note is that there will be some cold mornings, but I'm not seeing a whole lot of freeze threats beyond that 10-day forecast. Maybe an occasional freeze threat. Looks like some of our coldest mornings and coldest temperatures could be around December the 13th. Look at these temps, 6 a.m. Could see some low to mid 20s across the area. And then we're trying to taper off with those early morning temps, mainly the 30s and 40s. This is 8 a.m. Monday, December the 15th, seeing some 40s at that time. But as we look across the United States, looks like we're going to be dealing with right around average as far as our temperatures go here across central Alabama. Above average temps further to the west, below average temperatures to the east, but again near average here at home, December 9th through the 15th. What about rain? Well, I don't see a whole lot of wet weather beyond that 10-day forecast. Our next best rain chance could come around. We're talking late next week, possibly December the 11th, but this is only one model. I'm not seeing any snow, nothing like that, but maybe some rain. Most days look dry beyond that 10-day forecast. And as far as rain chances go beyond the 10-day here across central Alabama, looking at near average precipitation December 9th through the 15th. More above average rainfall across Florida. So if you're making some travel plans, maybe trying to escape the cold here across our area and enjoy some warmth across the beaches in Florida, above average rainfall there. But here, near average. Of course, that beyond the 10-day forecast is always going to change, so stay up to date with us. We'll be back more with Weather Extra after the break.
All right, some cold weather out there, but it's all rain. We're not expecting any icy weather.
No, no snow, no winter precip.
Not
but-
yet, not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can get a little bit sometime this winter season, but
I did a poll today on my Facebook page, and
People
I've had
don't want it?
there's a lot of Team Snow, folks.
oh, good. Me too. I'm Team Snow.
Yeah, we got and speaking of snow, how about this? This is from our sister station and from our former intern Mitchell Keys, Dania.
Oh my gosh!
And this was in Kansas. I said, Mitchell, we've got plenty of bread and milk here, and maybe some leftover pumpkin pie if you need it. He was all excited. See, he's from Mississippi, so he was really excited. But I'm sure folks there in Kansas are probably saying, "Okay, you can have this."
Came a little early for them, huh? I don't know. But here we are looking at more pictures. This one is fog covering Birmingham. RJ Jones sent that one in to us, and it's a look at how foggy it was recently over the Birmingham area.
Yeah, it's been gloomy around here, but hey, we'll take your mind away from that gloom just a bit with this lovely sunset from Adger. Jennifer Maddox Woods sharing that on the First Alert Weather app.
Oh, love her name, by the way, and that picture, gorgeous. But does X mark the spot? This is literally a perfect image. How cool is this? This is actually a recent image that was captured over central Alabama, contrails.
It was like, remember this spot? Because it won't look like this next week.
Nope,
right?
it sure won't.
Listen, a lot of clouds, a lot of rain. Be safe out there tonight. We'll have radar updates starting at 9.